put on the armor of God in this fight against evil. God's hand is on President Trump. He won't take it off. And he's going to bring us to prosperity, to safety. And he's going to lead us closer to God and make America great again. It is my highest honor. You might know this guy, this gentleman sitting next to the former, current, and future President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Thank you both. Thank you very much. Thank you both, and thank you, everybody. And, would you like to take over? You want to go? Would some people like to speak first?
No, we want you.
Okay, good.
We want, everyone here is ready to hear from you.
Okay, good. That's good. Well, thank you very much. And I have to say, with Bob, we became good friends. I didn't know him before the White House, but I got to know him, and he represented Hispanics. He represented a lot of people having to do with manufacturing, business. He's a great businessman. And he had a very interesting situation. The radical left in our country put tremendous pressure on him not to be involved with us, meaning Republicans or conservatives, whatever, people with common sense, I always say, because essentially we're the party of common sense, which becomes a better and better term as time goes by, with men playing in women's sports and open borders and people coming into our country totally unvetted and unchecked and all of the ridiculous things that you see today. But we are the party of common sense. So Bob has a lot of common sense, and he has a great company. It's a great company, but they were putting a lot of pressure, and I felt very badly for him because they were hitting him hard. They had pickets, they had everything. They were trying to extort him, essentially, and we found out he can't be extorted, and he fought very hard. And then a strange thing happened. A strange thing, his numbers went through the roof. He was selling much more food instead of less food. And they do that, they play that game. It's probably not even legal what they do, but they go after businesses. And not everybody's like Bob, where they're in a position to fight. But his company went absolutely through the roof because of it, because there's tremendous support. We have far more people, far more support than the other side. And really the term, make America great again, we are the party of wanting to make America great again. Right now we have a country it's a nation in decline. We're sadly a declining nation, and who would have thought we would have had to say that? But if you look at our borders, they're horrible. I probably won in 2016 because of the border. I fixed it very quickly, became very, very good, and turned over a great border, and they just destroyed it. From the moment, I always say that my world's favorite chart, the chart I look to the right on, but that was basically a chart on immigration, and that was the lowest immigration we'd had in forever, I think, in recorded history. And then that was my last day in office, and then it became like a rocket ship, that chart, and it went up to the moon. It was very sad to see all the work that we did, but we'll do it again. The only difference is this is many, many times worse than it was in 2016, Bob. In 2016, we had something that was within reason. We didn't have people with no talent, no brain power, people with that maybe hate our country in a certain way, because you try and figure why would they want prisoners, gang members, drug dealers? Why would they want murderers, by the way, 13,099 murders? Why would they want these people in our country? Is there any reason for it? You know, usually when Bob or I or some of the good business people around the table, and in the audience I know a couple of great ones. We have Wesley Hunt, a great congressman, by the way. Thank you, Wesley. A great one. He's a great congressman. But we always say, you know, we want to know what the other side is all about, where are they coming from. This is one of the few times you really say, what are they doing? Where do we benefit? And I guess, you know, you look at it and you say they're not smart, but they're smart, they're cunning, and a lot of them are evil. But you say that maybe they hate our country. I believe they could be some of that, because, you know, when you allow drug lords to come into our country, when you allow the people that they're allowing, and by the way, empty They're emptying prisons out all over the world. This is no longer South America. This is the entire world. From Africa they come, from Asia they come, the Middle East, South America, yes, but it's not exclusive South America. This is all over the world. The Congo, we have a lot of people coming in from the Congo in Africa, and it's incredible. But you just say, why? Why are they doing it? And it has to be evil intention. And then you realize that so many other things that they do, like transgender operations, where prisoners, people that are being held as prisoners, if they request a transgender operation, they get it. Now, who would even believe this is possible? And she was one of the ones. Kamala, we have to talk about Joe, because Joe was overthrown. He was overthrown as president of the United States. First time that's happened. We call it a coup. I should say he was just overthrown. It's simpler. People say, what's a coup? A coup is you were overthrown. And I believe he likes me more than Kamala, but what do I know? How would I know that? But I think he likes me actually a little bit, about this much more than her, but they're having a lot of fighting going on. And they asked her a question the other day on one of these ridiculous shows, and they said, well, what would you have done different? What would you have done differently? She complains what she's going to do, and I always say, why didn't she do it? It's so easy. You just sit back. Why didn't you do it? You had almost 4 years to do it. But she's worse than Biden, I'm telling you. He's more intelligent than her. Can you believe this? Can you believe? Okay? And it's not that I'm a fan, but I think what happened to him was terrible. He had 14 million votes. She came in last because she was the first one to drop out of the race. She dropped out. There were like 22 people, and she dropped out. And it's a terrible thing. I mean, you talk about a threat to democracy. That's a threat to democracy. But the biggest threat to democracy is incompetence. And we have incompetent people leading our country, and we have problems other than borders. We have the biggest problem is probably the possibility of World War III. And that would be a war like no other, with all of the weaponry that you have today. You have weapons the likes of which this world has never seen before. So we have people leading us that are not the right people. And we had no wars. I finished off ISIS. We had the best economy ever. We did great. And for the Hispanic Americans, because that's why we're here, I want to just say household income for Hispanic Americans. I asked them, give me some of the just basics, reached an all-time high. So your household income was the highest it ever was. The Hispanic American poverty hit the lowest rate ever. So the lowest rate of poverty, the highest rate of income. So far we're doing good, right? That's not bad. After that, what else? You almost don't have to say anything more. The household wealth of the median Hispanic family grew by 65%. Think of that one. Home ownership among Hispanic Americans reached the highest level ever by far, and we cut taxes and regulations for Hispanic-owned small businesses and people. And now we did this for everybody, and everybody did better, but Hispanic Americans did just right at the top. Now, let me tell you what is happening at the border, because it's affecting you probably more than anybody else. African Americans, Hispanic Americans, people are pouring in and taking your jobs. And your jobs are being taken, and that's all because of Kamala and Biden. And really, in this case, her, because he put her in charge of the border, and then it was 4 o'clock and he went home and went to sleep. That was it. He made her the border czar, right? Now she says she wasn't the border czar. And they come out with different excuses, and because there's no excuse for this. We have the worst border in the history of the world. There's never been a border in the history of the world like this. If it was a third world country, because they had no border like this, because they'd fight them off with sticks and stones if they had to. This is the worst ever in the history of the world, and we had the best ever in this country's history, and we had a strong border. We had great people. Tom Homan was one of my advisors, and Brandon Judd was unbelievable. And we have people today that are great. And the amazing thing, they want to do their job. They really want, it's easier for them not to do their job, I assume, but they want to do the job. They see what's coming in and what's happening. But You heard the numbers from think of that family income, median 65% increase. Who ever heard of a number like that? But it's being taken away from you by them because of the border. Because people are going to come in and they're going to take your job, and that's what they're doing, and that's what's happening. And if you look at the numbers today, the numbers are way down from where they were. And for the African American community, it's actually a step even worse. So I just want to let you know, and that's the way it is. She caused a tremendous inflation, $29,000 per family. Kamala launched a massive IRS initiative to take more tip money away, no tax, right, on tips. And that was a big deal. And then she goes out a few weeks later, maybe a few months later, she said, I have a surprise for you, no tax on tips. We sent her a MAGA cap. But she won't, remember, she won't be able to do it, just like they were unable to fulfill, for 4 years, they said we're going to cut the tuition, the debt on colleges and schools and all of those. We're going to cut the debt, student loans, we're going to cut them, we're going to give you, it failed. I mean, all that work, all that talk, it was all for nothing, it failed. And, a lot of people had hopes, and it failed because they don't get done what they're supposed to get done. They get done nothing good for the country. The only thing they're successful at is wasting money on the Green New Scam. And the number, Bob, the actual number is $93 trillion. That's what they want. And this was done by AOC +3. I said, oh, did you study the environment? No. They never even studied. They just come up. They want to do things like no more cows and no windows in buildings. They have some wonderful plans for this country. Honestly, they're crazy, and they're really hurting our country badly. But I just want to say it's been an honor. I've had such great support from the Hispanic community and from the Black community. The highest level ever, and there are those that say we'll end up breaking the 50% mark, which is really an incredible when you think that 10 years ago or 6 years ago, and even when I first ran, you didn't know me very well, and you got to know me well. And the second, we did great in 2020. We did better in 2020, frankly, than we did in 2016, much better. We got millions more votes, but we did very well with the Hispanic, and now we're doing record numbers. And I think we're going to have a tremendous election. I think we're going to have an election like no other. I think this is going to be the biggest and most important election in the history of the country. And a big beneficiary will be the people in this room. They've been just so great. Hispanic people have tremendous, they say you can't generalize, but I think you can. They have wonderful entrepreneurship, and you have such energy. Just ease up a little bit, okay? Ease up. No, you have great ambition, you have great energy, very smart, and you really do. It's like natural entrepreneurs. That's why these small businesses in the country, they are largely the number of Hispanic Americans operating small businesses and big businesses too, very big businesses, running them for stockholders. So it's an incredible group of people. It's an honor to have you on my side. We are getting numbers of Hispanic Americans that nobody ever thought possible. And we're up in all of the polls. It looks like we're leading just about everywhere now. We're leading I think all of the swing states that came out this morning. We're leading all of the swing states. And part of that is she can't answer questions. She doesn't know what the hell she's doing. We can't have that. We had that 4 years ago, and we had that for the last 4 years, and we can't do that anymore. We're not going to survive as a country. We're in very dangerous shape. We're in very bad shape as a country. You look at all of the things that are happening that are so bad, and it's just something we can't take. So we are going to be with you. You've been with me. Get out and vote. And again, November 5th, I believe, is going to go down as maybe the most important day, I hope, right, Mr. Congressman? But I hope it will, because it'll show what we do, but it'll be the most important day in the history of the country. And, I said that with 2016, and I meant it, but this blows it away, because 2016, we had problems, but we didn't have this kind of a problem. We have a problem of survival of our country, because we're run by very stupid and probably evil people, and we can't have it. So thank you very much, Bob. I hope that's a positive message. Is that a positive message? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let's make it clear to the Hispanic community that the Biden and Harris administration have killed our economy, destroyed our border. They have destroyed everything good that we have in our country, but they have not destroyed us. And we're going to give President Trump the biggest win in November. Hispanics are. Mr. President is going to have the biggest support any Republican president has ever had from us. I truly believe that. But what's most important for us is our values. And Kamala Harris is destroying our values of family, of faith. And if we want those values to live in our children and the second generation, it's important that we instill those values, but that we also elect those that represent our values, and that is President Donald Trump. I think it's important that we also give an opportunity to Captain Sam Brown to introduce himself. This race is very important for your state. To say a few words, thank you for being here. Thank you for making time out of your day.
Purpose here. Promises made, promises kept. I went to so many rallies of yours, and I can still hear you saying that. And I remember you keeping your word. We love you, Mr. Trump. Keep doing what you do best, and run this country the way this country needs to be led.
Thank you, Brad.
Trump 2024.
Thank you, Brad. Very nice.
Brian, you have an incredible story. Thank you for sharing. Mr. President, you have gotten a lot of support from unions, from Teamsters like Brian.
Right.
Why do you think that is?
Well, we know what's going to happen. Just as I was saying, unions are going to be very affected by all these people coming in, and we have no idea who they are, where they come from. We know nothing about them. They're unvetted, they're unchecked, and they're by the millions, and they're going to affect your Teamsters. And the Teamsters, as you know, the rank and file voted last week nationally, and I know you did locally, and I appreciate it. And I respect the Teamsters. I've used Teamsters to do a lot of buildings, the concrete, they trucked it in, and I never had a problem. They're great. But we had a tremendous vote. Over 60% of the Teamsters voted, which was unheard of because it never happened before to a Republican. So if I were a Democrat, I would add 105%, I think, based on that. But I know how hard you work, and I really appreciate your words, Brian, and you'll be very happy. You do have to be careful, and I told Sean O'Brien, Sean O'Brien, he's the boss, and he's great man. He's head of the Teamsters. I said, you have to be careful because you have people coming in by the millions, and many are not people that are supposed to be in this country, and they're going to be stealing your jobs, taking your jobs, and you're going to have a lot of, you're going to have turmoil. You're going to have tremendous turmoil, and it's not fair to the people that have been here and great citizens and worked hard. So you see it happening already. It is happening, and it's happening right now, so we have to be careful. But that was beautiful. Thank you, Brian, very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Mr. President. Now let's hear from our small business owner, Elias Trujillo.
Well,
Thank you, Elias. And I agree with you. I believe that the Hispanic values are what's going to save this country. I want to talk about the tax, no tax on tips. I was a server for many years. I understand the struggle of not wanting to report all the tips because we knew that we're going to get taxed. Mr. President, are you going to get the no tax on tips signed into law?
Yeah, I think we will. We had tremendous enthusiasm in Congress for it, even on both sides. They said that was a good idea. Nobody ever thought of it. I had another one, I was in Detroit the other day, and I said, we're going to have deductibility of interest on car purchases, and the price went crazy. And top people at Wall Street, two top people, like the top people, where did you ever come up with that idea? And it was something that I just felt we have to bring back our car industry. We have other things, even beyond that, to bring it back, actually, but that was something. So we have the ideas with the no tax on tips. I was at my building, and a waitress came up, and she was complaining about the way they're harassing her. I said, on what? She said, tips. I said, really? Well, really? I didn't even know. I never heard of this. And they said, no, it's terrible. They're actually passing new legislation to go after people on tips. I mean, really deep stuff. So I said, what do you think of the idea of no tax on tips? Because it just seems like very hard money to get for the government. And, maybe you should be entitled. And also, I think a big thing could be for you, but it could be for a lot of the people. You work overtime, no tax on overtime. And I think that's going to be good for the country. More people are going to work overtime. So we have these things, we'll get them done, and we'll get them approved in Congress. I've gotten pretty much everything I've wanted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, we want to hear from these three Hispanic Americans as well. We have a few minutes, but Ms. Linda Fornos would like to hear your story as well.
Thank you. It's a really honor for me to be here. And it's my third time sharing with you, Mr. Trump. And now I want to tell about my story. I'm an immigrant Latina who came from Nicaragua 16 years ago. I'm raised by two beautiful women, my mother and my grandma, who taught me values and taught me you have to fight for what you really want. You have to stand. You have to fight for your criteria and your opinion. And that's why I'm here. When I came to this beautiful country, I did things in the right way. And I have worked really hard raising my three kids. Actually, one of my kids, he was invited to be here, part of the panel, but he couldn't because he told me, Mom, it's my dream to meet Mr. President Trump, but if I go with him and I miss work, I'm gonna be short in my paycheck. My paycheck. That is how sad it is, our economical situation, that we had to work really hard. In my house, we have three people working, three salaries, and having two jobs in order to support our economy in our house. And it's not just me, it's all the community, the Hispanic, that they are facing the same situation. What is frustrating is how Democrats who stands for Hispanic. That's what they say. We are here for Latino people. And I ask to everyone what they have done to us. Nothing. They have done nothing. And that's one of the reasons why the Latino community now stands for you, Mr. Trump. That's what they are, supporting you, and they want you back. It's not time to regret, because many people, they vote for Democrats, as I did. But now, I'm standing here, and I'm standing for all others who wants to be part of your team, who wants to be part of this American dream. And believe me, they are waiting for you to hold your hand, and they have the faith that you are going to bring America again, as we are dreaming to have it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Linda.
Go ahead.
Iris Ramos Jones, we would love to hear your story. Thank you again for being here.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is an honor to be here with you today. I am a first-generation immigrant from Ecuador. I came to this country 11 years ago and became a citizen when you were president 5 years ago. Came with nothing, without being able to speak the language, and without knowing anybody here. And today, I'm sitting here with Mr. President Trump. Cameron, that's my daughter. When you and Mommy used to sleep on the mattress on the floor, I never thought this was going to be possible. This is only possible here in America.
Amen.
And that is why you gotta defend this country until the end. And that's why you have to love this country unapologetically, as I do. There is only one America. Do not take it for granted. The ones that have come from different countries know how bad it can be. How bad it can be if we do not defend our freedom. How bad it can be when they want to silence us. How bad it can be when we lose our rights. And when we do not defend our values, values that were taught by our parents and our abuelitas. I'm proud to be part of a community that work hard every day. People of faith, people that in today's economy are suffering. They have to have 2 or 3 jobs to meet their needs. We immigrant Hispanics have already made the sacrifices by leaving our countries, leaving our families, leaving everything that we know behind. We have nothing to lose, and we do see this country with a lot of hope that you gave us, and that we hope to restore it. We're willing to learn and embrace those opportunities because we are survivors. We take risk. We get things done when we do have the opportunities, but unfortunately, opportunities in today's America are lost. In the last 4 years, they have proved that they want to divide and bully those who don't think like them. They know the power of Latinos, and they are only using us for political purposes. In the last 4 years, they have proved that they do not care about us. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Iris. Mr. President, really quick, what do you say to those who immigrated here to this country the right way? What do you say to those people that are here in this country?
So you have a lot of people that came in and they went through 10, 12 years of work, and I think they're being very unfairly treated. They've worked so hard and they're so proud and they love the country. And we have people coming in, many people coming in and do a good job, and many people shouldn't be on that line because they're dangerous people. We have a lot of dangerous people. And we're going to take care. We want, just so we understand, we want to have strong borders, but we want people to come into our country legally, and it'll happen. We're going to have a lot of people come in, but they're going to come in legally, and that's the way it has to be done. We all know that. I think everybody knows that around the table.
Thank you, Mr. President. Rafael Arroyo, would you please share your story with us as well?
Yes, and it's an honor to be here. Thank you, Mr. President, for doing this and taking the time out to talk to the Hispanic community. So I was born in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and I moved here. We got some Puerto Ricans back there. And I moved here when I was 6 with my family, and I started my business in 2008, right in the middle of a recession, as they say. 23 years old. My business is called Smog Plus DMV Services, and we do emissions testing here in town, and then we go to the DMV for people that are working or they don't have the chance to go because they're out there providing for their families. And I know everybody also loves going to the DMV, right? It's the favorite place. So, but about 2 months after I started my business, I had a detective come in, gun and a badge and everything. He said, "Hey, you can't really do this business." And that was my first interaction with government as a business owner. And that's when I learned, if you don't get involved with government, the government's going to get involved with you. And a couple of back and forth for a few months, and eventually said, you know what, you're right. The law doesn't say that you can't do this business. So I was able to continue, but instead of encouraging innovation, the default government position is usually to shut it down. So as I continued over the years, I dealt with obstacle after obstacle. Policies that weren't business friendly, regulations that didn't make any sense. At one point I had a meeting with some government officials, and they said, we're going to make this policy change, and if you don't like it, change the law. So I had to get involved. I got involved with state legislators, and it took me 1 year and 4 months, but eventually we changed the law.
Thank you, Rafael.
So, I'm not a person who complains and just stands around, right? I put myself out there to fight for what's right, and I really care about our state and all my fellow small business owners and all my, Hispanic community. And I know from firsthand experience how important it is to have elected officials that understand business and care about encouraging growth. And I feel like we have a governor here, and Governor Lombardo, who stresses that Nevada is open for business. And, but the issue is he's going to need help. And today, for me, some parts that are critical to my business are double and triple the price than they were 4 years ago. And Mr. President, I know you're a businessman. You know how hard that is to see costs double and triple, and what that does to your bottom line, what that does to your employees, what that does to your customers. And as a Hispanic business owner, father of 4, my family's right over there, sitting down. And, it's tough right now. It's really tough right now, and what I'm doing is I'm paying attention to the policies, and I'm not paying attention to the media hype. And I recommend that everybody else do the same. And, the issues that really affect us are gas prices, groceries, the cost of supplies, because at the end of the day, we just want to provide for our families. So, Mr. President, I want to know what can be done to, as an elected official at the federal level, to deal with this inefficiency in government, this bureaucracy that small business owners have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And, thank you again for the opportunity.
Well, thank you, and it's a great story, actually, but big thing with you is going to be the cost of energy, very big thing, and we're going to get that down by 50% within the first years. I say it all the time, more liquid gold, you've heard me say it. Oil and gas. We have more than any other country in the world, including Saudi Arabia, including Russia, and we don't use it to the extent that we can. And the problem is your prices are too high. I mean, it's not a question of inflation anymore. They've already done the damage. The damage has been done. You have things that are costing 50, 60, 70% more than they were 3 years ago. And we're going to get your energy costs down by 50% within the first 12 months, and when that happens, everything's going to follow it, and I think you're going to be in very good shape. Very good story, though. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Kamala Harris is telling Hispanic Americans that Mr. President is against us. Clearly, he's for us, and it's going to take all of us to rise up and speak up. We will give President Trump the biggest win in November, but it's going to take all of us to rise up, get out to vote. I want y'all to act like we're 50 points down. We gotta get our friends and family out to vote. This is the most important election of, I believe in the American dream. Not only am I the American dream, so are you. You are the American dream, and the American dream is worth fighting for, but it's going to take all of you to rise up. This isn't just about us here in this table, it's about you as well. You need to take this election very personal, because the future of our country is at stake, and it's in your hands. So let's give President Trump the biggest win in November. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, everybody.